Hi guys, welcome back. So we've got the teams out for Ireland versus England in a World Cup warm-up match. I think the England team was a bit delayed because they were probably deciding what to do with the Owen Farrell situation, and we'll come to England next, but the home team first. And it looks very much like an almost first choice side with a couple of variations in it. Incredibly intimidating for England to go away to Ireland, play pretty much the first choice team, number one team in the world. Huge test for England. They could get smashed by this Irish team. We will see, but let's get into the Irish team. Front row, definitely first choice front row. Porter, Sheehan, Furlong, nailed on first choice. Then on the replacements bench, we've got Herring, Loughman and Bealham. Bealham impressive at tight head in the Six Nations, I think, before an injury. Loughman called in as cover for Kilcoyne, so he'll see that as an opportunity. If Kilcoyne doesn't recover, he'll want to make a good showing. But that Porter, Sheehan, Furlong, absolutely first choice front row, as is the second row. Byrne and Ryan, I think, is nailed on first choice second row. So front five, absolutely going for it. And nearly first choice, I'd say, in the back row. Omani at 6, I'd say yes. Van der Fleer at 7, definitely. And they're trying Predergast at 8. Jack Conan, who could start there, has got an injury. Predergast has already got one over on Gavin Coombs, who's gone home already, who's not going to be in the squad. So he's got a great chance, as Predergast can play all over the back row. Could well be the sort of guy you want in a World Cup squad. I doubt he would start, even if he has a great game, because of course you could play Doris in the back row somewhere. And I think you would if Conan's not fit. So I think it's between the four, isn't it? Omani, Van der Fleer, Doris and Conan if fit. But Predergast probably playing for his place in the squad overall. Now, without Johnny Sexton, obviously Ross Byrne will start. Now, as soon as Johnny Sexton's available, he'll probably come in, certainly for the big games, which is a bit harsh on Ross Byrne, even if he goes well, but that's just how it is, I think. Gibson Park, of course, their first choice 9. In the centres, you could always go for Henshaw, of course, but Aki and Ringrose could absolutely be a starting pairing. The power of Aki and the all-round ability of Ringrose, it's been a great pairing for a long time, and you chuck in Henshaw there, you can mix it up a couple of different ways. Back three, the starting back three, 100%. Low on the left, they use his boot quite a lot, can be hit and miss, but it's certainly big. Hanson on the right, who's a great all-rounder, and Keenan, Mr. Do Nothing Wrong at fullback. Doesn't look physically intimidating, but is so effective, it's ridiculous. Then second row, young McCarthy is covering second row. Doris could come on pretty much anywhere in the back row. Murray's there, the experience at scrum half. Crowley covering 10, but also centres, something that maybe will get him into the squad because he can cover everywhere. Earls is a back three, can play 13 as well, but I think Crowley's going to be the centre cover. Earls maybe is the one outsider there who's least likely of his spot in the squad, so he'll need to come on and impress. So super strong Irish setup. Let me know what you think about that one. Then on to the English. Like I said, late coming out. They normally come around midday with their announcements. I think they were going to start Owen Farrell again, their captain, because you kind of have to play strongest team against Ireland away anyway, and I think that's what they wanted to do. George Ford is in at 10. I don't think he would have played, but we'll never know, I guess. The pack very similar. Ellis Genge this time starts though. Jamie George, repeat again, starting. Will Stewart, they're rotating their tight heads. He gets another go. Genge, I did like Genge off the bench. We're not going to see that again, but you know, he's their best loose head, so it's fair enough. Maybe they wanted to get some more captaincy on there, if you like, some more leadership as the vice captain. Dan hopefully gets a decent run because he wasn't really trusted last time. Joe Marler's been going pretty solidly, and we want to see that impact from Sinclair because those big lines and those offloads and passing is kind of what he does best. He's not a scrummaging monster as such. And on the bench also for the second row, we see Ollie Chessum, which is fantastic news. And actually the best news for England all around in this team is some returners from injury, from big injuries like Ollie Chessum, and small injuries, which we'll come to. Second row, who goes to Maratoje? Well, Dave Ribbons is fit, so he goes, which is great. He was recovering from HIA stuff, I think, return to play protocol. He's definitely an international second row. Where he sits on the pecking order of international second rows, I'm not so sure, but he certainly has a really good offloading game, actually, which not many of the England forwards do, so I definitely want to see that. The captain, as I suggested in my selection video in the week, is Courtney Laws. I think that's a good call. He hasn't played much, of course, so getting him another game is great, and he'll hopefully hit 100 caps in the World Cup, which will be absolutely fantastic. 7, Ben Earl, who was just phenomenal last week. Can he back it up? And they're sticking with Billy Vunipola. I thought they would. They say they want to play him as much as possible. He gets fit through playing because he's not a great trainer, self-admitted. Will he get any quicker though? I don't think so, but what he's going to have to do is beat players, as in go through tackles, offloads, rather than just make an impact and go to ground, because other second row, so other number 8s in the World Cup will be beating players, going through the gain line, offloading. He needs to do that. He is the only specialist 8, but when there's a change, I wonder when Jack Willis comes on, will he go to 7 and Earl go to 8? I just wonder. Then we've got in the back line, Ben Youngs, George Ford, and without Farrell, I think that was always going to be the starting pairing. Played a lot together as well, so I don't think we'll miss a beat with Ford there. Obviously, he's not as big a tackler, although he's a more legal tackler, and he is more creative. He hasn't quite got that speed he used to, but he's definitely very deceptive. Can he unlock the back line? At 12, we see Manu Tuilagi return, which is great news for England. I think they need him. Lawrence does a good job, but Tuilagi at his best is definitely a step up. Not quick enough to play 13 these days, so he plays 12. Marchant, I said, is their best 13. If you can actually get some creativity going with Marchant, I think he could really unlock a defence. And on one wing, Daly, who had a good game last time. Let's see if he can do that again. Defensively, all eyes on him, of course. Anthony Watson, who was sitting out training, sat out that last game, does come back. They need him fit and firing at 100% if they can have any chance in this game, let alone the World Cup. And Freddie Stewart at 15, he's always there 15. He's very much trusted there. We know he's not the most agile, a little clumsy getting into his yellow card last time, but hopefully he'll learn from that. Then on the bench for the backs, we mentioned Jack Willis on the bench in the back row. Danny Kerr and Marcus Smith. As I suggested, the Harlequins pairing coming on. I think that's a good call to get them together to come on. And Ollie Lawrence on the bench there covering centres, and then Marchant can play wing if needs be. So I think it's as first choice as England can get. I haven't performed yet as a first choice, of course, under Borthwick at all, whereas Ireland have performed under Farrell a lot. At home, I expect this Irish team, who are very familiar with themselves, to get going at a great pace straight away. Can England live with them, or will the game be gone too soon? They have to stay tight. How are England going to play? Well, I'm sure they're going to play set piece and kicking again, but can George Ford actually start working the ball wide, working some gaps for some of these backs, some of these forwards to run through? Do we see a bit more than that big bomb? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of both of those teams, and I'll catch you next time.